Come journey with us through the rhythm of the music business with your host, Jackie Bertoni.
Everybody, welcome. Jackie Bertoni, Jackie's Groove, brought to you by the Intertalk Radio Network. Everybody, Wednesday, September 7th. It's a beautiful day here in Southern California, man. I want to forgive me for my stuffy nose here. I'm just getting over a little cold here, and we're going to do the best we can. And also, too, with Jackie's normal broadcast of 2 hours, we're going to shorten it up today because my in-studio guest just got off the road rocking it hard with Boney James and Chaka Khan. We'll talk more about that. So his management asked me, he said, Jackie, can we shave it to 1 hour? I said, absolutely. And so with that said, you guys, I want you guys to welcome with open arms and open ears, master guitarist, all-around great guy, my new friend. Please welcome Mr. Rob Fonksta Bacon. Rob, welcome, brother.
Hey, what's happening? Thanks for having me, Jackie. You already got me grooving, man, with that bumper music. You know.
Yeah, trust me, man. And that's the whole idea, man, is I'm sitting there right there rocking right now with my left foot pumping right now. So, yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
It's a good thing, man. Hey, welcome to Jackie's Groove, man. And let's just, I'm just going to go over some quick things. I know you're born in Detroit, Michigan.
That's right.
And you're allowed to talk about it. Exactly. And now that we're going to cut it back to 1 hour, I'm going to cut right to the chase, man. Let's talk about where you just got back from and who you were rocking on stage with.
Well, just got back from the Cancun Jazz Festival in beautiful Cancun, Mexico. It's probably about my third time doing that festival. I just did that with Boney James.
Cool.
And, we rocked out to a sold-out crowd. And, I mean, the show was live, crowd was live. Didn't want to leave, all that sun and fun, but had to get back on to other things.
Yeah, paradise is nice, right?
Yeah.
And so, who's Boney? Who's playing with Boney? Who's drumming with him now?
Oh, I call him my nephew, incredible drummer named Omari Williams.
Yeah,
and
man.
He's been with Boney. Actually, he's been with him probably the longest of the band. Him and the bassist, Dwayne Smitty Smith, who I'm sure
right, of course.
But Omari, yeah, he's killing that gig, man. He's been there for a while.
It's so funny you're talking about Boney James. I mean, people don't know that, or people who know him close know him as James Oppenheimer. That's the that's his real name, man. And Boney and I used to work together years ago, man. I mean, years ago, and we always crack up because I've had my legacy in my time with Kenny G, and we always made a joke. We always say you never saw Kenny and Boney on the same stage at the same time because they're the same person. And with that curly hair and that vibe all around it. But you got a bunch of Anglo white boys out there, man, funking it up.
Kenny can't rock that hat like both of those.
Trust me. It's all sorts. Whatever works for everybody else, that's all that matters, man. We're here to promote the situation. Hey, man, tell the audience out there.
It's been a lot of fun.
Tell the audience out there where the name. Tell the listening audience out there where the name Fonksta came from.
Oh, you know what? Okay, see, in the '90s. When I had started playing on a lot of the, especially the West Coast hip-hop stuff, a lot of, I guess they called it the West Coast rap stuff. At that time, they were sampling a lot of the funk. They kind of made their way through the whole James Brown catalog, and they were on that heavy P-funk thing. So me being a funk musician, funk guitarist and bassist primarily, I started getting a lot of calls to come in and not only replay a lot of samples, but actually create original grooves, that felt like that vintage classic funk stuff so they could have original stuff and not have to sample, and that. So, but a lot of these guys on the West Coast, a lot of them were gangsters, you know what I mean? A lot of that stuff was straight out of the street, but I wasn't that. I wasn't coming to the studio with a gun. I was coming with my axe, and so they would say, oh, well, he's not a gangster; he's a funkster. So my guitar or my bass was my weapon of choice, and so they sort of dubbed me that Fonksta name, and it stuck. And that's Fonksta for those that don't know.
Absolutely, man. I love that because when we're going to bounce back in here for it, but you and I met for the first time live, and when we had the honor of visiting Sunset Bronson Studios when the Arsenio Hall show, the second coming of Arsenio came around, and when you became a member of this stellar band called the Posse 2.0, and for those out there listening, man, I mean, I'm jonesing for some more Arsenio, but that brother can't do anything. He's either too black for the white crowd or too white for the black crowd, and it just didn't. I mean, serious man.
Personally, I think they weren't ready for all that funk. I think from day one, because the band music was always so integral to that show, and Arsenio, I mean, he really, really leaned on the band, and he knew, from the beginning, the sound, the look, the imagery, it was. He didn't call us his house band; he called us his co-stars.
Absolutely.
So it was that kind of relationship, and he was basically the official, sixth member of the band. You know what I mean? And we all had history there because when the original Arsenio show was on in the late 80s, early 90s, we had all, as individual musicians, had played with different artists, not in the house band, but different guest artists, and so. We were very familiar, and it was just so ironic that we all came together as the house band in 2013. And, it was just crazy. He didn't want to pull any punches. He's like, I want you to be as funky as you want to be. He's like, well, I don't want you to be down there. I want you to be my Jimi Hendrix, Lenny Kravitz cat for late night, He's like, I don't want you guys up there in suits reading music.
No, man. And it was such an eclectic blend. You had Victoria and Theodore on keyboards. You had Alex on bass. You on guitar. You have, just that Sean Holt, my boy, on sax and percussion.
That's right. Incredible Sean Holt. Yeah.
Yeah, man. And that whole vibe on stage. Because every time we'd come there, I'd always be sitting right in front of you, that little aisleway where the artist would come in on the side there. And the sound, just people don't realize the fact that when you guys break for commercials, you guys are playing straight through, and so that's
performance.
Yeah, man, and it's and I just to this day, and I don't want to spend so much time on Arsenio, but just that stand when Arsenio would sit there in front of the screen with his arms crossed in front of him, and they would, and if it was Sandy Fullerton back in the day of the old Arsenio, when they would announce at Arsenio Hall, and just that whole vibe of the dog pound. I mean, the dog pound, was basically where your band was setting up on 2.0, and then the backstage area in the dressing room, you had the orange wall that said dog pound, and
dog pound,
and so it was a good time. But you know what, man? If when America and the world is ready for Arsenio again, he'll be back. And it's
we'll be back. Don't even say that. We had too much fun, and it was so much. I felt like we were really just getting into the groove. I mean,
I know,
man. Every night. I mean, it was getting off the chain. By the time Prince came on, I mean, it was the excitement and the energy on that set was just off the meter.
Yeah, and let's talk about that. Let's talk about that for a quick second because the one of Prince's last live performances, television performances, was on Arsenio Hall. In fact, the story is a little bit of backstory. Arsenio and Prince have always remained friends. Prince simply told Arsenio, you get the new show coming up, and I want to be your musical guest. And he kept his word to it, man. But for the listening audience
Prince was the first person. Prince was actually the first person to call him when he found out the show was coming back. He was the very first person to call him and say congratulations and save me a night.
And he kept his word, man, because as many times as I've gone down to even the new show with all my friends, Rama DiMaggio and everything else would come down, especially if I wanted to see somebody live. And you guys would do real-time filming from 5 to 6, and you'd be in and out, and whatever bumpers were done, before and after. But the actual filming of the show was 1 hour. Well, fast forward.
It was funny because the bumpers, they would only see us playing out of commercials, but then the groove would get so heavy in between commercials. You see the guys, you see the directors out there going crazy, waving their hands like, cut it, because we would want to play for like 7 minutes.
Yeah, man. And when we got there, my best friend Paul Parker, who is a Prince aficionado, when I found out that Prince was going to be on the show, I called up Robin, and Robin says, and I said, I hate to be a pain in the ass, man, but my best friend, the father of my godchildren, he called me the following day. He says, yeah, you're done, you're in. So we get to Sunset Bronson. The Prince, just so people don't know out there, when Prince takes over a studio, he takes over a studio. I mean, they literally took Arsenio's red logo and turned it to purple. They had all these, all the tractor trailers that were sitting on side of the building there for all the dancers. Prince literally hung chandeliers, stages. He took over Arsenio's show. And
the production, the sound, the production, and I have to give it up to the crew, Arsenio's crew in production.
Oh, of course.
Right? I mean, they set it out. So it was so amazing, and it sounded amazing. Prince was amazing, but the band he came with, I think he had sort of like a 12-piece horn section.
Section.
It was ridiculous. It was electric. It really was, and we had such a good time.
Just watching you guys when Prince was playing. In fact, when the horns actually wanted to join you guys, at the beginning of the show.
Prince sent them up there. Prince told him he heard us rehearsing. He heard us playing. He usually doesn't want people to play his music. He didn't want
exactly
people to play that stuff. And he heard us playing Let's Work, and he was like, you know what? I want you guys to play that. And he's like, I want my own to play with you. So that was impromptu, but it came out really cool.
Yeah, but think about all the guest stars when the Earth, Wind and Fire played with you guys. I mean, you're the backing band for these guys. So I mean, it's not the fact that your resume, comes from the fact of Mariah Carey and DJ Quik and Arsenio and Dre and so on, but you got to take credit for the bands that you played with or backed on the show. I mean, it was
such an honor. It was an honor. I mean, these are classic artists that we all grew up, learning from, idolizing, and having come and be able to stand side by side. I'm standing there side by side with Randy and White on stage playing, Shining Star. I mean,
you dig?
Those are those moments you can't buy,
I like to refer to those as the aha moments. So we stepped out of Arsenio. That was 2 years of a stint for Arsenio. And again, if it's meant to be, it's going to come back. But see, you're playing with a girl that I've been a fan of. Actually, you're playing with a girl that J.R. Robinson started out with years ago in a small group called Rufus and Chaka Khan. And I heard some great stories with J.R. and the fact that when he joined Rufus and with Chaka Khan, and kind of fast forward, right when he got to Hawaii, they were sitting there and talking, and Chaka came up to JR's room and sat down with him and said, I'm really enjoying it, but I'm leaving the band. And JR is like, leaving the band? He goes, I just got with the band, and and so basically, he took off and went with Chaka. So that's she is wild. Now let me just go back for a second. Where were you? Where was Rob Fonksta baking out when you got the call to join Chaka Khan?
I'll tell you exactly where I was. I was at a casino, and I wasn't working. I was hanging out. It was. I used to like. I was living in LA at the time, and I used to like to drive out an hour on, and just go hang at the casino, And I'm not even really a gambler. I just like the energy. So I'm hanging out one afternoon, and we had just. What happened was the musical director, the bassist, Melvin Lee Davis. He's the musical director.
Of course, I know Melvin. Of course.
Yeah, she had just revamped her band, and he brought him in and wanted him to basically build the band back up from scratch. And I had just done a performance in Barbados with them. It was like a series of jazz, Christmas jazz concerts or whatever. Cool. Every year, this promoter out there would put together an all-star band of musicians from like L.A., New York, or whatever. I didn't even know how I got the call. I was just so honored to be there. It was like people like Lenny Castro on percussion, Sonny Emery on drums. I was playing with them. And that was the first time I'd ever worked with Melvin. And so we get back, and literally a week to the day I got home, I get this call. I'm at the casino, I get this call. And he's like, yo, man, would you be available to do a couple Chaka hits? And I was like, Chaka Khan? He's like, yeah, would you be available? I was like, yeah, I'm trying to be cool.
Yeah, right.
I was thinking I was subbing for somebody, be something temporary or whatever, But lo and behold, I got there and did the first gig was in Atlantic City, and I didn't meet Chaka until the sound check. And I remember she came up, we were playing some stuff. She comes up and she, kind of looked me over and she was like, what's your name again? I told her, and she's, you remind me of a lot of people that I bonded with over the years. You sound good. I mean, she told Melvin, keep that guy in my band. So I've been with her since, 2011, I think it was.
And I love it, man.
We just really gelled. Yeah. We just really hit it off, man. And she could tell that it came easy for me because I had grown up with that stuff, which was always one of my favorite bands. I knew the whole catalog, So when I got the call for the gig, I was like, man, all I need to know is how much of this stuff is she still singing in the original key?
Exactly.
And he told me, I was like, cool, because I knew the records, and then Tony Maiden is not only a guitar hero of mine, but also a mentor, So I was able to just, gel right in.
You know, it's funny when you say Melvin Davis. I'm so used to, Melvin Davis to me has always been Mel Dog, and that's the way it's always going to be. He's one of the most gentle giants. Wasn't the guy? He's the only guy that can walk on stage and play a 12-string bass like a P bass.
Amazing.
Ridiculous.
I'm talking about, you think of people like Anthony Jackson, that school of bass playing. He's so melodic and so solid, and it's like I get kind of beside myself when I'm playing with him. He starts laughing at me because he's so groove oriented, and we lock into a thing sometimes. It's just ridiculous. So it's always fun.
First time I met Melvin, man, I lived in Orange County for 26 years. I used to play with a band called Derek and the Diamonds, and it was Derek Bordeaux and Chuck Morris was drumming with us. Carl Denson was playing sax.
Wow.
And we're in a little small place called Woody's Wharf. So you want to talk about some serious funk overload in Orange County. And we turned this white crowd into, basically the Soul Train dancers because we really would mess it up as an eclectic blend of players. And and so that's where that whole situation came from Melvin. And then Melvin and I would do a lot of jazz gigs around town and so on. So we maintain and continue with friendship. So, I mean, when you're playing with someone like Chaka and you're doing the standard hits, play the songs that the audience has to hear, I'm Every Woman, and Ain't Nobody, the list goes down the line and so on. There's and I usually ask questions to people, and I'm not going to ask a question. It's going to require a 4-minute answer. So I'm going to try to paraphrase it here because 1 more minute left in the situation. But are there songs that with Chaka, when you're up on stage with her, that you cannot wait to play? Is there a favorite Chaka tune?
Yeah.
What tune would that be?
My ultimate favorite, and we open the show with it currently, is Do You Love What You Feel? The energy of that just makes my spirit happy. It's the perfect opener, but I've always loved it, and I go back to, it was one of my mother's favorite songs. I always get this flashback of my mom dancing to that song in the living room all by herself, because I used to sit on the stairs in the living room. I was like, 8, 9 years old, and watch my mom dance to records all by herself. That's how I got my love for music, through her. And I just watch her dance, and that was one of her favorites. And so when I play it, I almost get choked up every time because that energy comes right back. So there's that one, and then there's You Got the Love, which Ray Parker Jr. wrote that classic intro guitar line. That's two to stand up for me.
You still, regardless of the fact that she's not only your friend, your cohort, your boss, but she's still Chaka Khan. And it's
she never. She doesn't have that I'm your boss vibe. She's so down to earth. It's Chicago down, and just so real and such a sweetheart. And I always say on stage when she flashes that smile, and turns around and smiles at the band. That's Rob, worth more than any
there's that music. I'm going to interrupt you real quick, brother boy. Jackie Bertoni, Jackie's Groove Top Radio with my in-studio guest, Mr. Rob Bacon. Don't go anywhere. Segment number 2 coming up. Much more to talk about. We'll pick it up with Mrs. Khan. And stay tuned. Don't go anywhere.
Are you serious about your music? Are you ready to run with the big dogs? The experts at Pitbull Audio have the gear to get you into the game. From leading manufacturers like Mesa Boogie, Fender, Pioneer, and American Audio. To sound your best, you need the best. Pitbull Audio can deliver in rehearsal, on stage, and into the big time. Dropping beats, shredding guitar, or making the crowd roar. Whatever you dream, Pitbull Audio can help make it happen. We are Pitbull Audio. We want you to play it loud. PitbullAudio.com.
You know what's all around you every waking moment of your life? Marketing. You're choking on it. I'm Scott Robertson, and when it comes to strategic PR, branding, and marketing, I've seen it all. And actually, I'm still seeing it because bad marketing never sleeps. Join me each week on May the Best Brand Win, right here on Intertalk Radio, and learn how to make the marketing for your brand unforgettable.
Hi, I'm Tim Dolbear, the host of Sound Experience on Intertalk Radio. Each week, I talk with top professional audio engineers, producers, musicians, and the manufacturers that make the tools that we use in the studio each and every day. From capturing the perfect take to mastering your final release, and the tools and how the pros use them, we are going to dive deep into their process and learn from their experience. I look forward to you joining us each week on Sound Experience with me, your host, Tim Dolbear.
Hey, it's Tracy Smith
and Beth Venus
of Girls Talk Rock, right here on the Intertalk Radio Network.
Every Wednesday at 5 p.m. Pacific.
Okay, Beth, they know that, but we want you to know that the industry pro's choice is Silver Tiger Production.
SDP is a full-service production agency offering sound, lighting, installations, talent buying, staffing, backline equipment rental, and sales. Kapow!
It's everything in the entertainment performance industry. It's all that.
SilverTigerProduction.com.
Come journey with us through the rhythm of the music business with your host, Jackie Bertoni.
Hey, man, everybody. Welcome back. Jackie Bertoni's Jackie's Groove, brought to you by the Intertalk Radio Network. Hey, guys, if you love what you're hearing, and how could you not be loving this, but you can't make a live date, do yourselves a favor and do us a favor. Go on to either Apple iTunes or Android, Google Play, and download our easy-to-use application. 2 words. Intertalk, the first word, radio, second word, and take Jackie's Groove and Intertalk Radio with you on the go. Don't want to miss a thing. Hey, and don't want to miss a thing, you guys. I'm proud and I'm privileged to come back on the second segment here with Detroit native, Mr. Rob Fonksta Bacon. Rob, we left off, man, welcome back to the show.
Thank you.
We left off talking about the funky Miss Khan, Chaka Khan.
Yes, yeah.
And, I mean, how do you not say that? Are you still doing, is that song still a mainstay in the audience request to hear that tune?
That one with the Chaka Khan rap on it, that's I Feel For You, which was actually written by Prince. You know, that was a cover of a Prince song. Yeah, that's the mainstay. That's one of those you have to do.
Yeah, because I was talking to Mel Dog, because when it says "I think I love you," and that bass, you know, it's like that.
Exactly.
It was just that, and almost kind of like that vibe of "Tell me something good" kind of a vibe. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Well, that little bass thing is like, even people that don't play an instrument, when they get to that part, you see them playing air bass.
Hey, but let me ask you this question: on a stage of Chaka, when the music's pumping like that, you guys, I'm assuming, maybe I shouldn't assume, but the fact is, the last time I saw you guys with Chaka, you were in-air monitors. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Not the whole band. Actually, nobody in the band. In
Really?
that one, we're going straight old school monitors. Yeah, and because Chaka doesn't use in-ears.
I love it.
Old school wedges, monitors. Yeah.
Yeah. So the lead-in for that question was, what is in or what is not in your wedges?
Well, see, that's all. Yeah. With me personally, I always, everyone's different. Some people want a sort of a soft mix of just about everything.
Right.
And then with the principle of the lead singer up a little bit over that. I personally, I like to feel the natural air pushing on the stage. So I don't ask for anything really, but like some of the drummer's hi-hat to help keep time, because sometimes you have a time delay depending on the room you're playing.
Right.
So having that hi-hat right in my face like that, it helps me keep in real time with the drummer. I like to get a little bass in my wedge if the stage is really spread out. If it's not, I don't need really anything. Maybe a little bit of guitar and a little bit of hi-hat, and then, Chaka, whoever's, singing. So it just depends on the room, really. Now, the in-ear thing is more designed for people that want to keep a really quiet stage.
Right, okay. I feel like, and it's like every time I see a picture with you on stage with Chaka, I know that girl loves her band members, and it seems like she has no problem. There's no diva aspect of this woman, because every picture I see, she's either leaning against you, she's she's in full vocal voice. You got a smile on your face, see,
you have to think about that. That's a natural chemistry. She's a band chick.
Yes.
She's a band artist. She never really fell into that whole I'm just popular and I'm going to stand 20 feet in front of the band and just have a spotlight on me, and that's it. No, she's part of the band. And when you think back to Rufus, classic Rufus, you saw her with Tony Maiden. She was always vibing to him.
Yeah, man, she's a true road dog, man.
Yeah.
Hey, let me ask you this question, and a lot of people are going to want to know the answer to. On this gig with Chaka, I'm assuring this is one of your aha moments in life and so on, and we all have our inspirations, and we've all inspired at the same time too. If you could sit there for a second and I'm not going to give you 1 or 2 or 3 choices, but let's just take one choice. If Rob Fonksta Bacon has a choice, a bucket list, who do you want to play with?
Well, probably on the top of that list, unfortunately, I won't get the opportunity, and that would have been Prince.
Of course.
would have topped that list. Yeah, would have probably definitely topped that list. Probably in Funkadelic, I would have loved to have been part of the PMA. I did get to tour with them briefly with a band that George handpicked and put together called Children of Production.
Cool.
That we opened a lot of shows with them, and got to play a lot of that classic stuff. But to be a part of the whole Mothership Connection thing would have been a dream. I would have loved to have been worked with Stone, that kind of stuff. But basically, Prince would top that list. He would top that list.
How many times have people mistaken you for Lenny Kravitz?
It depends on how I'm wearing my hair at the time.
Right.
I only really get that like if I have my hair out crazy, and I have my shades on. I get it. Like I got it probably 5 times trying to get to the airport yesterday.
Yeah, I was curious because
when I was younger, they called me Baby Prince. Like a little high school. All the little girls they used to laugh and say, "That's Baby Prince."
Dig it. Yeah, man, it's so cool because when I look over your bio here and everything else that you've played with, so on, it seems like everybody you've played with. I mean, let's step for a second here. Mariah Carey, was that a long-standing gig, a short gig, a few gigs?
No. Yeah, that wasn't like a long-standing thing like with Chaka or Bonnie. That was I have worked with her live, done performances, award shows. I did a few specials she did, but I more than that, I played on a few records and actually co-wrote a track that was on her Charm Bracelet album that was called Indecent Proposal. So we got to collaborate together as well.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah.
Hope you made a little bit of little scratch off that tune.
Well, how it is, man. But there were a lot of writers on it. I think there probably ended up being like 8 writers on that. But that was something Randy Jackson, he actually put that session together, and he was working with her extensively at that time. But she's a sweetheart and so talented, and it was cool being in the studio vibing with her.
And Rob, let me ask you this question. Growing up in Detroit, in the Bacon family, what was pumping out of the speakers on the little console that was in everybody's house at that time?
Oh yeah, that was easy. Okay, so like I told you earlier, I got my love for music in general from my mother. She liked a little bit of everything, but she was a straight Detroit girl, straight up Detroit. So everything was Motown at the time. Now I'm growing up in the 60s and 70s, so she was a Motown girl, but she liked everything from like, I don't care if it was Motown to the Carpenters to the Doobie Brothers to whatever. Anything that was good, she could pick a hit. My dad is from Florida, so he had more of that southern. He liked that Memphis Red Queen sound and a lot of blues. So he liked the soul stacks, Memphis stuff, and he liked a lot of blues. B.B. King, Bobby Blue Band, people like that. So I got sort of a mixture of the two.
Is Mama still with us?
No, Mom and Dad passed away several years back. But
I'm an orphan right there with you, brother. Trust me. I asked that question.
Somehow I feel like they're closer with me now than they were when they were living.
You dig?
Especially when I pick up the guitar.
I couldn't agree with you more because my mom, my rock at Gibraltar, I lost her back in 1992, and I always want to ask a question because as we're getting older, especially we're going to the NAMM show and everything else, everybody wants to talk. We get a chance to hug each other, but the first thing we say as we're getting older is moms and dads still with us, and we, but it just seems, Rob, it seems so weird, man. It just seems so much, almost macabre, the fact that we're not talking about mom and dad still with us, but, we've lost so many of our brothers, our comrades, our brothers in arms, unusual. I've lost a lot of friends of mine personally in the last year, and I always say that, man, that, heaven has gotten a little bit funkier.
No place is funkier than heaven right now. If you think about it right now, somewhere up there, you got Rick James, Michael Jackson, Roger Troutman, Gary Schrader, Bernard Orwell. You got all of them. Come on, man. Earth cannot even compare to that, right?
Please. And I always say, man, in tongue-in-cheek, I hope they're not looking for a guitarist or a percussionist anytime soon because I got a lot of stuff to do down here still, man,
Exactly.
And going back with Mama real quick, did Mama get a chance to enjoy and see your fame and your success?
Yeah, it's funny you asked that. One of, my fondest memory, like the last time she saw me live or any other, it was her 60th birthday, and I was still working with Raphael Saadiq at the time.
Cool. Tony.
Yeah, and we had just done some work on his first solo album called Instant Vintage, and we actually recorded at this show. We recorded it live. He released the album called Live at House of Blues.
Cool.
And it was that performance in L.A. And I had my mom. I flew her out for her 60th birthday, and she was sitting up in the balcony. I could look straight up, and she was looking right down at me. She was sitting next to Raphael's.
I know it well. That's the balcony. If you're on the stage, you look up to your right, and that's where everybody sat.
I had this hat on, and I kept trying not to look up because I would get choked up because I could see her there just glowing.
Bro, go ahead and shed a tear. Go ahead and shed a tear, man. Because let me tell you, before going on stage, going into record in the studio, and even going on the radio right now, I have a cross in front of me that came from my father. And without getting too religious at all, but I give a sign of the cross. I say, Mama, let me get through this. Let me have no equipment problems, and let me do the best that I possibly can. And it's so funny because you're talking about the House of Blues. You're talking about just the fact of Mama getting a chance to see her offspring killing it. And but it doesn't matter who's out in the audience. It doesn't matter if the people in the foundation room, the people on the ground floor. If you could be just playing there and look up and only have one person looking at you and have Mama looking at you, that's all you need, man.
Well,
and it's so funny.
Understand when I would look at her and I see that, and then I go directly back to sitting on the steps at 8 years old, watching her
preaching the choir.
Dance by herself.
Let me ask you a question. And speaking of that, because we know you as a guitar player, but a lot of people don't realize the fact that you also a bass player, you're also a drummer, and so on. And I always tell a lot of parents, that for kid wise, don't force an instrument down a child's throat. Give them the choice, and the plethora to choose from, and let that instrument call that person. Because the bottom line is, Rob, I'm sure you agree with me, man. Because if you don't have music in your soul and your heart, I don't care if you're being taught, if you're being, being tutored by the best. If you don't have it, you don't have it. So with that said,
a child can learn. Yeah, you can learn an instrument. You just nailed it. You hit it on the head. Your instrument will choose you. Like you could take piano for 10 years, and then pick up a saxophone and just not even feel like you have to practice because it just spoke to you. So I always say, but I always joke, I say, if you really want a kid to play an instrument, put it in the middle of the living room and tell them never touch it.
Dig it, man. And
they'll become a virtuoso.
And I talked about this earlier about the fact of what was coming out of your speakers. I mean, here I'm a half Italian, half Armenian boy. I grew up with a mother Armenian, my father Italian, and second generation. But we listened to everything coming out of our speakers at home. If it wasn't for Bobby Goldsboro and Engelbert Humperdinck and Tom Jones, my mom and dad were groomed to the sounds of the Fania All-Stars, Tito Puente, Celia Cruz. So I grew up listening to the cha-chas and salseros and so on. And so someone asked me, they go, "How come you never played drums?" Well, my mom never put sticks in my hands because she didn't want me to fuck up the furniture, And so she bought me the pair of bongos, and that's what led me. And so on with that. But I have to ask you a question going back and forth here. When you're doing a gig like with Chaka, and the fact is, I know she's a road dog. She's a homegirl from the past. But how much do you guys stick to the script, or does she give you a chance to really stretch?
Well, that's the beauty of performing with someone that's from the classic old school like her, because they had a whole different approach. She relies more on the energy of the crowd,
Right.
If she wants to stretch something, or if she wants to cut something off, she's reading the crowd. She's paying. We're watching her. We're feeling her energy, so it can change just that room, for spontaneity. Whereas on a lot of pop gigs, I won't name names, but I've been on like some serious huge pop gigs where you might be playing along with a recorded track or, something like that, and everything has to be the same every single night, so there's no room for that spontaneity. You know what I mean? So it's, if we get into a heavy groove and she wants to stretch it, she can look back at Melvin, and he calls the audible, he looks at us and, gives it that symbol like, okay, long roll,
When you guys are hitting on a song, one of my favorite songs by Chaka is Through the Fire, how much, I think it's probably right past the bridge. Long time ago, there was a nice guitar riff in that stuff. Are you still playing on that? Are you stretching on that at all?
Yeah, that stuff like that solo is so classic. Like I would never try to add anything. I have to play that solo note for note. You know what I mean? Because it's
right.
In the song, and the signature parts, like in the chorus and stuff that you hear, you can't stray away from. So, like I always say that with that stuff, you have to respect that music. I mean, you don't need to add anything, and you don't dare take anything away. You know
of course,
what I mean? Because it's all there for a reason, and it was proven. So you have to respect it.
When are we going to be able to hear you back out with Chaka? Anything coming up in the near future?
Yeah. I'll be performing with Chaka coming up. I'm back with her in October. I think it's like 3 or 4 days coming up in mid to late October.
Where at?
Yeah. I know I have to check the schedule again, but the first two I know are actually in Florida at the Epcot, the Disney Epcot Center.
Cool.
Yeah, and because we did a 2-night run last year, and she tore the roof off, and they asked her back. So it's gonna be cool going back.
Hey, Rob, are you guys doing your own? I'm sorry, I'm interrupting. I got a little delay there. Are you guys doing your own sound checks, or you guys have a crew doing that?
Oh, we brought on it. Yeah, we did.
Okay, cool. It's just it's really funny because when I was working for years with Third World, the prominent reggae band, we didn't have sound checks. They had their sound guy they traveled in and so on. It always seemed kind of weird for me, especially as a percussionist, because we never get a chance to sound check. It's always all right, Jackie. Middle conga, center conga, left conga, toys, timbales, bongos. Okay, well,
when the crew does it, it's usually at that point it's usually just what they call a line check. So like say you've been rehearsing for a month for a tour, and then you go out and say that first week of shows, the whole band, even the artist at that time will come out, because those are almost like mini rehearsals. You still kind of, finding your legs and getting everything right. Once you've been on the road for 8 weeks, there's almost no need for a sound check. You know what I mean?
Right.
So the crew will come out and make sure the guitar's working, make sure the keyboards have sound or whatever. So that's how that works.
Rob, do you have a preference of stage size? I mean, do you feel more comfortable or as comfortable in a crowd of 1,000 versus a crowd of maybe 30,000?
I think most musicians you'll ask prefer the smaller venues and the smaller crowds.
Trust me.
There's much more of a connection. It's much more intimate. You lose something big. The bigger the venue, you start getting to those arenas and everything, you sort of feel like just a drop in the bucket.
Yeah, man. I was just talking to a buddy of mine, Keith Howland, the guitarist from Chicago. He was on a couple weeks ago, and the biggest crowd he played in front of was 80,000. The biggest crowd I played in front of was 95,000 at the Rose Bowl. And if I never do that again, that's fine with me, because I was just always worried about the fact I was working with CNC Music Factory and Stevie B at that time. And the first thing I was thinking about, what would happen if they fell in love with the music that much and they rushed the stage? So needless to say, I was off that stage, at Toot Sweet to get the hell off that stuff. So, and what's happening, Toot Sweet, and I won't use that term twice in one situation. We're coming out of segment number 2 right now, Brother Rob, and I really could have used 2 hours with you, man. But we're going to take this next last segment. We're going to reel it all in. We're going to find out where you are. We're going to talk more about what's coming up with Mr. James, Boney James, that is. And we're going to talk about your endorsements, et cetera, and everything that's got to do with Rob Fonksta Bacon. So with that said, I'm going to clear my throat. Rob is going to go take a deep breath, and we'll be right back on segment number 3, the final segment here on Jackie's Groove. This is Jackie Bertoni, brought to you by the Intertalk Radio Network. Don't go anywhere. Stay tuned. One more segment, and we're out.
Hi, this is Tim Dolbear, host of Sound Experience here on Intertalk Radio. And Source Connect by Source Element is the essential tool that we use to link between my studio in Austin, Texas, and the WS radio station in San Diego. Now, with Source Connect, not only can we communicate in real time and with HD audio, but it's synced up and is of a high enough quality that I can use it for real-time ADR work, remote recording, and overdubbing, and it even allows me to remotely control a DAW. Source Connect by Source Element. Affordable, high-quality audio and video connection over the internet for all of your production needs.
You know what's all around you every waking moment of your life? Marketing. You're choking on it. I'm Scott Robertson, and when it comes to strategic PR, branding, and marketing, I've seen it all. And actually, I'm still seeing it because bad marketing never sleeps. Join me each week on May the Best Brand Win, right here on Intertalk Radio, and learn how to make the marketing for your brand unforgettable.
Girls are talking rock again.
And people are listening.
Today we're talking bands.
Let's talk promotion. Red Giant promo, graphics, EPKs, video, photos, social media, and brand building using content marketing.
But let's talk studio at CCMA, which is events, rehearsal, tour prep, piano, guitar, voice, rock band, lessons, workshops, and clinics. Yeah!
Both proud sponsors of Girls Talk Rock.
Well, get the lowdown on these services and contact me, Tracy, at girlstalkrock.com.
Are you serious about your music? Are you ready to run with the big dogs? The experts at Pitbull Audio have the gear to get you into the game. From leading manufacturers like Mesa Boogie, Fender, Pioneer, and American Audio. To sound your best, you need the best. Pitbull Audio can deliver in rehearsal, on stage, and into the big time. Dropping beats, shredding guitar, or making the crowd roar. Whatever you dream, Pitbull Audio can help make it happen. We are Pitbull Audio. We want you to play it loud. PitbullAudio.com.
Come journey with us through the rhythm of the music business with your host, Jackie Bertoni.
Talk about the mothership. Let's talk about, man. Guys, this is Jackie Bertoni, Jackie's Groove, Intertalk Radio Network. Hey, man, you know what? I'm having a blast right now. I'm redoing my notes here because usually I'm trying to stretch out questions and stretch out stories and anecdotes, and Mr. Bacon and his crazy schedule caught me back to an hour. So you know what? I'm going to stop being a little white boy on Soul Train. I'm going to get a little more funky myself. So let's reel this in here right now, and let's talk about how we can find out about Rob. And, you know, Rob, I do a wonderful thing here. I always bring in as my brother, but he's also the CEO of our corporation. He is the one that keeps this crazy ship moving, and my brother Paul is the one that gets all the audio stuff together. So we got a strong team working here. You know it, and I always say, without being cliche, it takes a village, and my village is surrounded by, you know, the top in the industry itself. So with that said, Rob, do me a favor, say hi to Florentino. Florentino, say hi to Rob.
Hey, what's up, Rob? How you doing, man?
What's happening, man? Just chilling, man. Having a good time. It was a good hang.
Oh, awesome, brother. Awesome. Hey, man, I've just been enjoying the show, and, you know, it's been, you know, a great time. Thanks for, you know, letting us kind of get our thing earlier on as we've got the new offices going on and the new system. And we've got things rocking and rolling here. We really are trying to do our best to shed a light on the players of the industry, the people that really define the music, you know, and like yourself, you know, it's an amazing experience to kind of go on these journeys with Jackie and all his friends and you know these icons of the industry that you know, if people don't know who they are, they really should, because it makes a difference. So with that said, you know, we'd like to take this time to let people know how they can find out more about you. So what are some of your social media pages and your websites? And
yeah, definitely. Well, social media, I mean, they can always go to my Facebook. My artist Facebook page is Rob Fonksta, that's Fonksta Bacon. Twitter is at Rob Fonksta Bacon. And that little nugget you heard on the bumper coming in, you're supposed to let that roll all the way through, because that's the single that I just dropped. It's my personal dedication to the legacy of the great keyboard master Bernie Roel, who we just lost.
Yes.
And I was fortunate to have the original P-Funk horns on there with me, and my brother from Detroit, Amp Fiddler on keys. And I just felt that song had, you know, that vibe of the classic P-Funk or whatever. So that's the single that they can go on iTunes and find. It's called Cause Any Funk. And they can go on iTunes. They can go to cdbaby.com and click the artist search and, you know, enter Rob Fonksta Bacon, and I have a whole artist page there that's talking about the album that's upcoming, and they can buy the single right there. Yeah. So hopefully you guys can bump out with that too, man, because I want to hit them with that song before we get out of here.
We can, man, but, you know, our motto is they got to go buy their own, my brother.
You dig?
Yeah,
we give them a little taste. We give them a little taste. But they got to go out and buy it, because we support the players and the selling of this amazing intellectual property that people have to realize is, you know, of value. You can't just go out and steal it.
Well, we really appreciate it. Yeah, get you to support independent artists, man. We're out here, trying to bring it to you live and direct. So get out there and support your independent artists. You know.
You know, let me jump in here real quick, Tino. Do me a favor, because that song, I thought I was listening to Mr. Clinton there for a second, to be honest with you.
That's not even covered.
So we got some time here. We got some time here, man. I'm going to jump in here. Paul, do me a favor, Paulie. Can you roll some more of that for me?
Sure thing.
Put some on it, because I got to get my funk on.
All
Stay tuned, everybody.
Available now.
Here we go. Staff jamming out here right now. Let me just tell you guys, that's some crazy stuff. I was waiting to hear that yeah bubba baby. I mean, that has got that, that's killer, man. You guys have got to patronize Mr. Rob Fonksta Bacon. You guys have got to pick that song up and give the title of that song again, Rob.
That the single is called Cause and It's Funk, and it's the first single from my upcoming album, which is going to be called Earth Smells Funny. And I had to hurry up and get that single out. But I had been sitting on that one for a while, and I was blessed to have Greg Thomas and Denny Cowan on the horns there from P-Funk, and my man Ant Fiddler. And I said I wanted to hurry up and put one out. As soon as I heard we had lost Brandon Royal, I said this has so much of his vibe on it. I wanted to get it out as a dedication. So people, please get out there and get you a nickel bag of that funk.
Yeah, man, I'm digging, man, because look, that's real players. That's real music. Let me tell the kids out there, this thing called real music. That's the bottom line, man. And everything old is new again. And so when you made fun of your parents' music, think back again, man, because that music was the right stuff. And it's coming back again because, Rob, I want to ask you this question, too, without getting overly political, but this music business or the lack thereof, what's your opinion on the music business? Are we doomed? Are we destined for greatness? What's your opinion?
I think, y'all have to keep in mind what genres you're speaking of, because there's some genres like, country music and some of the jazz and things, that pretty much kind of stuck to form, so you're talking about pure form, like for purists. But like things, they grow and they progress, and I'm all about progression. I'm all about the new technology. I'm all about things moving forward. Sometimes we move forward a little faster, than our own good, and we start to sacrifice quality. And I think that as long as we don't remember where we came from, moving forward and progressing is good. But I think we always should have a taste of that real, from where we came from. And what I was doing with that, I wasn't trying to reinvent the wheel or anything. I was like, I wanted to do something that represented what I came up with.
Right.
Hey, there's going to be somebody out there that knows it as soon as they hear it. Oh, man, I remember that feeling. And there's going to be someone younger that goes, what is that? And that's what it's all about.
And you know what it's all about also, brother, man? It's all about, thanking the people who take care of us, I should say. So with that said, down by your feet is a pedal board. Guitar players understand that. And on your wrist and around you is what you use called a pick, and the strings, Diodari, whatever it may be. So with that said, you want to give a shout-out to the people who give you a shout-out?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, definitely. I want to say hey to Fender, my family at Fender Guitars. For all the love they get me over the years. I want to say thank you to the cats over at Diodario Strings. I've been using Diodario Strings since I was first started playing at like 9 years old. I've never used another string. And my friends at Line 6 who do my wireless systems and some of my, effects, special effects and things. So I appreciate their support.
Absolutely, man. That's the whole thing. You guys need to know. He just went ahead and used that, man. So if you're loving Rob, man, go give some love to the company that laces his hands with the guitars at Fender and Diodario and so on, because none of us are doing this for our health, brother. We're doing this, to move forward in our lives and and for the greater good. And with that said, we appreciate that, man, because I'm old, and I've been around the business for a long time, and it seems as we get older, Rob, it's harder for us to go out there because no one's selling albums anymore, man. We're out there as adults, senior adults out there pumping out 150 to 200 days out of the year to support our families and so on. And I always tell everybody else, the young kids itself, you know what? I don't think going on YouTube. God bless you if you become a star on YouTube. But you know what, man? You're missing the biggest thing. You need to get your asses kicked. You need to know what it's like for failure.
See, what's going on now is with the push with actually technology now, with the push of one button, a novice, an amateur, anyone can push a button and do what they used to pay a whole division at a record company to do, whether it's marketing, promotion, whatever, and even the recording. A kid can get on GarageBand on his laptop and do a little track or whatever, and and put it out, and so sell 50,000 records. It just depends. But the quality, like true, musicianship, the songwriting, all that kind of stuff, we can't lose that quality. And like you mentioned about albums,
right.
The art of an album, a collective piece of work, is threatened to be lost. We can't lose that in the download, climate that we have right now. It's all download oriented. So, just if enough of us, just keep putting it. You have to give it to the people. Just put it out there.
And my three favorite words are, man, is stop stealing music, people. Go out and if you support it, man. Support local music. Support us guys itself. And I also want to tell you, I want to support Rob. I feel kind of bad right now because I said here we are moving by leaps and bounds with all of our new equipment. You're the second interview since the new equipment's been turned on, and we're I don't want to say we've bit off more than we can chew, but we've got a lot of educating stuff to do on these new systems. And with that said, I'm regulating here because I got a friend of mine that wanted to call and say hi to you, but we are not set up on that part of the studio. Mr. DiMaggio wanted to call up and he wanted to bust your ass, man.
Oh, no.
And so with that said, when we go offline itself, he wants to talk to you. So you guys can chop it up that way. I'd really, because we're known here on Jackie's Groove is to do almost like this is your life situation. And so Florentino just typed to me and said, "This is, man, there's no way we can do it. We're not set up to that. That computer's not turned on yet." So with that said, and know that DiMaggio.
You have to know DiMaggio, man, Robin DiMaggio, we're going to put together a funk rock band to take over the world. So
yeah, from your lips to God's ears, man.
Drummer right there.
Let me tell you, on that show on Arsenio, man, when Rob would lay that groove down for the bumper in and out, that groove would be so deep that you'd have to get a ladder to get out of it to the next commercial, man, because that is.
Arsenio told Robin, Arsenio, when Prince was on, Prince in between one of the bumpers, Prince was taking us out, and he leaned over to Arsenio and said, "You have the funkiest band on Lake Night." So that's all we needed right there.
That's affirmation.
Robin was holding it down.
Do you remember years ago we were talking about Arsenio? Remember Arsenio used to sit there and say to Chuck, or even what was it, Lynn? Why am I drawing a blank here? The female drummer from original Arsenio.
Oh yeah, Terry. That was
Terry Lynn Carrington.
Yeah,
there we go. Yeah. But when Chuck took over the gig on the stool, I remember when Arsenio would sit there and go, "Chuck, give me
some backyard barbecue,
stank socks in the exactly, and that used to kill me, man. He would say that some stanky gym sock funk, and that's one thing about Mr. Hall, man. He another guy that's a road dog because that was all about. In fact, I was cracking up when Prince was playing on the last song on Mutiny. Was the last tune that Prince played live there, and Arsenio was back there playing tambourine. And that sister, Liv was just oh man, let me just tell you, for people out there, I want to tell you something, man. You need to be jealous because we were in this small studio, and they had Prince had his full band, and they also had the Posse 2.0, and then he had a 12-piece horn section. And they did Liv came out, and she killed on a song, but they had to redo it. Arsenio apologized to the audience because Liv's saxophone player, his bud mic fell off and went into the bell of the saxophone. So The bad news was they had to couldn't use that part of the tape. The good news is that we had to hear it again. And how that roof at Sunset Bronson didn't blow the fuck off that studio when you guys were...
That performance is a bit... You can still find that on YouTube. Just
I have it on my DVR.
Horns, oh, my goodness. And to stand, for us standing 5 feet, 8 feet away from that, I mean, I don't think I would recover it.
And I hate to tell you this, man. I was, me, because I have a little power scooter because of my MS. Don't hate me, but I was closer to that for that groove than you were. And I mean, it was. I mean, that was just some stupidity. In fact, when I go offline, you guys do yourselves a favor. When we go off the air, don't you dare it now. But go onto YouTube and type in Arsenio Hall Prince Mutiny, and just be amazed at what this man did to this stage and so on. And be amazed what Mr. Bacon has done with his talents over the years. If you're not educated about Rob Fonksta Bacon, do yourselves a favor because he is all over the internet. Go on there, listen to this man's groove, listen to this man's skank, listen to this man's solo. And that's what it's all about. It's all about us as the musicians out there supporting the names on the marquee. So we want to make sure that you guys understand who these players are, the hired grunts, for the lack of a better a word, that we are the flavor around this amazing music. We're the frame around this beautiful photograph. So give credence to these people. Give credence to Mr. Bacon. It gets crazier and crazier and crazier. So, Rob, I wanted to tell you, brother, again, I wish we had the time. If you could see my desk right now, I've got check marks. I've got things that I wanted to ask, but it's too in-depth. So later on, when you get yourself rested, and we go a few months down the line itself, if you would give us a chance to have an open-door policy, maybe even do another hour with you.
We'll do another one, man. Definitely. Let's set it up.
Because the audience is loving it, man, and that's the main thing. So I got to turn my phone off here. Stay with me here. Hold on. I love it. Sorry about the noise there. So with that said,
that's keeping it real, baby. Keep it real.
Yeah, man. It's again, these are whole new situations and everything else based upon what we're trying to accomplish there. In fact, I just lost that screen. So with that said, I'm going to kind of just wrap up until I hear some of that bumper music in the back. And everybody, I want to thank you, Rob Fonksta Bacon, for gracing Jackie's groove, man, and educating us. It's a little bit funky. So there's the music. There's the music, brother. Brother Rob, God bless you, man. Stay strong, stay healthy. And put me in contact with Mr.
You guys, you're doing an incredible job there.
Thank you, man.
The whole crew there.
And tell Mr. Ray Parker Jr. that we want to talk to him also. So everybody, Jackie Bertoni, Jackie's Groove, we are out.
This is Jackie Bertoni from Jackie's Groove. Come join me weekly on my journey through the music business as I take you behind the velvet rope, interviewing industry notables such as Al Di Meola, Michael McDonald, and Al Jarreau, to name but a few. Listen to their stories on being in the studios recording #1 hits and onto the stages throughout the globe. Allow me to be your music historian. You can hear me live every Monday at 2 p.m. and every Wednesday at 12 noon Pacific Standard Time or 24/7 on jackiesgroove.com. Ready to get your groove on?
Hi, this is Tim Dolbear from Eclectica Studios. I'm a full-time mixing and recording engineer. I work with Grammy winners, labels, and indie artists, using state-of-the-art digital mixing and restoration tools and the very best in analog gear. Really, though, it's my ability to bring tracks to life and fulfill your vision for your music. This has made me sought after by producers and artists worldwide. So spend your time working on music and not chasing a mix down a rabbit hole. Go to timdolbear.com and check out our free one-song mix offer.
You know what's all around you every waking moment of your life? Marketing. You're choking on it. I'm Scott Robertson, and when it comes to strategic PR, branding, and marketing, I've seen it all. And actually, I'm still seeing it because bad marketing never sleeps. Join me each week on May the Best Brand Win, right here on Intertalk Radio, and learn how to make the marketing for your brand unforgettable.
Are you serious about your music? Are you ready to run with the big dogs? The experts at Pitbull Audio have the gear to get you into the game. From leading manufacturers like Mesa Boogie, Fender, Pioneer, and American Audio. To sound your best, you need the best. Pitbull Audio can deliver in rehearsal, on stage, and into the big time. Dropping beats, shredding guitar, or making the crowd roar. Whatever you dream, Pitbull Audio can help make it happen. We are Pitbull Audio. We want you to play it loud. PitbullAudio.com.